Everybody knows that perfection isn't achievable. But there are some things that come pretty close. One of these things being the 1984 masterpiece Paris, Texas, directed by Wim Wenders. Now, I could go on about the razor-sharp writing, fantastic direction, breathtaking acting, phenomenal cinematography, and another pretentious adjective followed by a film trope, but you already know that if you've seen the film. Which reminds me, if you haven't seen it, don't watch this video. I'm going to talk about the ending. Paris, Texas follows a man named Travis who, disheveled, emerges from the desert after having been missing for the last 4 years. He ends up reconnecting with his brother, Walt, and after being pushed in the right direction, he even starts to talk a little bit.
Thought you were afraid of heights.
No, I'm not afraid of heights. I'm afraid of falling.
Travis's brother and sister-in-law have been raising his son, Hunter, who calls them his mother and father despite knowing that they aren't. Anyway, eventually we learn that Travis's wife has also been nowhere to be found for a solid while, until Anne tells Travis that she sends money once a month from a bank in Houston, Texas. Anne probably did this in an attempt to persuade Travis to leave them in search for Jane, so that Anne and Walt can continue to raise Hunter, but shut up, Anne, because it's Travis and Hunter road trip time. A quick side note, I'd actually like to take a moment to talk about how good Hunter Carson is in this film, as Hunter. He's just great.
If a guy put a baby down, traveled at the speed of light for an hour, if he traveled at the speed of light, he would come back in an hour. He would be an hour older, but the little baby would be a very old man.
Travis and Hunter have developed a bond and are on the hunt for Jane. And after finding her once and talking to her through a one-way mirror without telling her who he is, Travis returns to give her the truth. Now that we're up to speed, allow me to explain why this final portion of the film is pure, unadulterated brilliance. I mean, the whole film is brilliant, but this last bit is the focus of the video. So, Travis tells Jane a story of two people, exactly mirroring their real-life relationship all those years ago. This is expertly written, as it's a way to explain to the audience what Travis's situation was without making it seem forced. It acts as an artistic monologue with a motive of disclosing Travis's reflection of his past, as opposed to just being a device to drive the story forward. We realise that Travis was actually somewhat abusive and obsessive over Jane before he left society on his own accord, and with a combination of bittersweet storytelling, being that Travis has achieved his goal of finding his wife, yet he understands that being with her is the wrong decision, and perfect cinematography, really placing the foundation of emotional distance, especially in this shot here, we're able to understand that at this very moment, the happy ending of a rekindled family that we've been rooting for since the very beginning of the film would be corny and incorrect in regards to the characters. It's the ending where the words victory and defeat really stand out for me. An example of this in another form would be the final shot of the Breaking Bad episode Felina. The slight smirk on Walter White's face beautifully sums up the combination of his loss of life and family and the victory in tying up loose ends, killing Jack and the neo-Nazis, rescuing Jesse, and placing Gretchen and Elliot in a situation where they need to give Walt's money to his family. This same feeling is derived from Paris, Texas, in my opinion. Travis tells Jane where to find Hunter so that she can finally be reunited with her son, and it can be assumed that they'll return to Walt and Anne, pleasing all parties involved. Meaning that Travis has finished the redemption of his past, despite the fact that we only found out about his previous characteristics towards the end of the film. The film concludes with Travis leaving once again, coming full circle since the beginning. However, in contrast to the hot, tranquil desert scenes at the start, Travis drives away, finally rekindled with society. The same subtle music plays as Travis leaves, but it has a whole other meaning now. No longer is Travis wandering aimlessly without any meaning to his life. His job's now done. He's brought his family back together, and the only way for him to do this was to leave. We aren't shown where he goes. Perhaps he's leaving for Paris, Texas.